So I'm off to ride at Mt Ventoux, which is arguably one of the most famous summit finishes of all the Tour de France stages that you can get. And it's still a hell of a long way off in the distance up there. Got to ride 2/3 of the way around the mountain first just to get to the start of the climb. So I'm currently in Côte d'Aron, I believe, the lowlands, which are very much vineyard or wine country. So I'm surrounded by all this grape and grain. Well, not grain, just grape. Started fairly early in the morning to get all this low-lying terrain out of the way first, but it's still relatively cool, which I'm very thankful for because it'll be absolutely roasting down here this afternoon. But yeah, got about 30 or 40 kilometres of relatively flat ground to cover before I even start the climb. And then of course it's the famous nearly 2,000 metres worth of ascent to get to the top and then ride all the way back again, so it's going to be a long day. Still 24 kilometres away, but that's to the near side. I'd like to go the long way around to get to the summit first. So I just passed through Buis-les-Baronnies, which is a delightful little medieval town, and it's the start of the easy way at Mt Ventoux. So the place is absolutely full of cyclists who are generally starting and finishing there, which to me is a bit of a, well, I'm not going to say a cheating way, but it's a unsatisfying way of doing it. It's much more enjoyable to do a bit of a loop than it is to go straight up and down. So I'm riding down round to the southwest side, which is the steeper side at Mt Ventoux, and I'll come back down the easy way and end up back in Buis-les-Baronnies again. Col de la Madeleine, 448 metres, one of the many molehills on the approach, which is a hill in its own right. Gotta love the quality of French rural roads, so smooth compared to an English road. Just left Bedoin at the start of the ascent of Mt Ventoux, 22 kilometres. Doesn't say what the average gradient is, but according to the sign, the steepest 1 kilometre gradient is 23%, which I certainly hope is not the case because that's ridiculously steep. So 3 main routes at Mt Ventoux. Okay, there's the first one that I already passed, the easy one. This is the middle of the 3, and then there's one much further around to the southeast. So it's kind of the southwest ridge, there's a southeast ridge, and then the west ridge on the way down. So the two on the south side are definitely much harder than the one on the west. And they join together at Chalet Renard for the final few kilometres, which are the famous section that gets all the coverage on TV. Yeah, it's going to be a long old 22 kilometres. Okay, so the route hasn't actually really started climbing yet. It's a bit of a false start these first few kilometres, which obviously just means that there's more steepness to go that I hope to get. Okay, so now I feel like we've started climbing, maybe 3 kilometres in, and I'm in the granny ring for the first time all day. I've got pretty huge gears as well. Starting to feel more like a mountain climb now. Starting to see the graffiti on the road as well. This is Chalet Renard, where the 2 roads on the south side of the mountain join up. So it's just one way to the top now. There she is, the Geant of Provence, also known as the Bald Mountain. So apparently the tree cover used to extend to the summit of Mt Ventoux, but at some point in the recent prehistory or early historic times it was deforested, which resulted in desertification, loss of soil, loss of habitat, and the trees never grew back at the top, which is why it now has its distinctive bold summit. Indeed, from a distance it looks like it has a perennial snow cap, but it's just the colour of the creamy white limestone summit, which is all scree like this. Like being on the moon, just a lot more cars. This is the memorial to Tom Simpson, one of the early greats of British cycling, who collapsed and died here in a stage of the Tour de France in 1967, only a kilometre or so from the summit. So that's the summit of Mt Ventoux, natural habitat of the rare spotted MAMIL. No idea how long the climb took, because I didn't really pay attention to the time at the start, but it's one hell of a climb anyway. I'm guessing it took something like 3 hours, maybe more. It's a bit different to the big climbs I've done in the Alps, which tend to be dominated by endless hairpins and switchbacks, where that was a lot more just kind of constant straightish drag at 8, 9, 10% gradient the whole way. So actually a lot harder than doing some of the big climbs in the Alps that I've done, just because you don't get that little bit of rest at the hairpin. But now for 25 kilometres of constant downhill. It's probably the extent of my filming on the downhill. You can quite easily get up to 70 kilometres an hour, if not more, going down here, and trying to do that one-handed would be deadly. And just like that, I'm back in the lowlands, the hot arid lowlands, surrounded by vineyards and orchards and other things. Only half an hour ago I was all the way up there in the desert landscape on the summit of Mt Ventoux. So what takes 3 hours or so to get up takes half an hour to get down. The only way to recover after a day like today, sadly the river's not really deep enough. Doing the job on the legs though, which is the important thing.